In northern Utah on fire watch, flames are raging here in Box Elder County tonight. Firefighters are battling two new blazes.
This is severe weather from KSL.
Take a look at that. Fires and flooding. Severe weather has slammed the southern part of the state. Good evening and thanks for joining us. This is Kanab Creek here in Kane County. In just the last few hours, it was flowing at 400 times its normal rate. That is thanks to more than an inch of rain that came down and came down fast, Dave.
We've been watching this all night. Kanab looks more like, well, the streets are rivers tonight.
Yeah, and their front yards look more like mud pits.
I just watched it, and these drains started to fill up, with debris, and all of a sudden, the next thing I knew, it was just coming up the driveway, going around the house.
You can see residents have been flocking to the streets, filling sandbags for other homes and businesses in the water's path. Residents say the waters didn't stop there. More than a dozen homes have already found damage inside.
The hospital got hit pretty hard early on because they're up here in the north end of town. I know the elementary school got hit pretty hard. We do have a lot of homes up in this area of town that got hit. Basements full. We're talking 5-6 feet of mud and water in basements.
Kevin joined us early tonight. When you look behind us, you see that video. Vortex is hard at work tonight.
Yeah, and it keeps going. In fact, Kanab, you got your 1.5 inches of rain in a hurry. It flooded all through the neighborhoods, the streets, the homes. We showed you the damage, but it is still raining hard in St. George and all along the I-15 corridor. Still some showers in and around Kanab, but right now, moderate rain from New Harmony to Enterprise. That's what's going on in Utah. This is what's going on down in parts of Nevada, Mesquite, and along the I-15 corridor down through Moapa Valley. Heavy, heavy rains. We had flash flood warnings all afternoon and into the evening. Now we've lost those warnings, but the potential for heavy rains has just moved south, and we will continue to see some impressive totals. Take a look at this picture coming in again. We showed you some of the video. Street flooding all around the town of Kanab. Our temperatures right now, because of the rain, have cooled. Cedar City's at 65 degrees. We're at 77 in Delta. St. George at 73, while Salt Lake is at 81. And coming up in the forecast, I'll show you just how big these totals were. They were so impressive, as well as talk about where the threats for severe weather will be tomorrow. It's all coming up in just a moment.
All right, Kevin, so that's what's happening in southern Utah. Tonight in northern Utah, two brand new wildfires are burning, and the winds are not helping.
News specialist Nicole Val is live in Box Elder County tonight. Nicole?
Dave, you can see the zigzag of the fire line just glowing behind me here. 5,000 acres of flames have singed the mountainside in Plymouth, a small town just north of Tremonton. Take a look. Also, you can see this flare up going out right here. Take a look at some video from earlier we shot, though, just about an hour ago before the sun went down. You can see the flames just raging. Officials tell me the fire is spreading fast because of winds and sudden wind gusts. Nothing has been contained so far. 8 fire agencies are on the ground. 5 aircraft attacking from above. The fire is threatening some structures, mainly this one. I'm going to take you back out live here. This structure here is the Norco steel plant. It's only about 100 yards from where these flames are raging. I just want to show you how widespread this fire is. I'll have my photographer start over here and show you. This is just really, you can see how stretched out it is. The 5,000 acres just continue to burn. A lot of other scattered structures, I'm told, also threatened, and a lot of livestock in the area in danger. Officials believe this fire was caused by somebody. They're saying it's a human cause, and they are still investigating exactly how that happened. Just an amazing view of this glow just stretched out here in Plymouth. I also want to bring this up. On our way up here, we saw a lot of cars on the side, on the shoulder of I-15, this burning not very far from I-15 North. A lot of cars on the side of the freeway. I did speak with UHP. They tell me that is a very bad idea, very dangerous to get out of your car and take a look at this. Of course, you want to see it, but that is not safe. So UHP urging people not to do that tonight. We are going to continue to follow this and make sure no structures do actually get in more of the fire's path. So, but Dave, more fires burning across Utah tonight.
Nicole Val, live for us in Box Elder County. Thank you, Nicole. Fire crews back in Corner Canyon tonight. fighting a new fire. This one's in the Jacob's Ladder area. So far, only 5 acres have burned there. And other news, still fire crews keeping a close eye on the hot spots. This inferno that burned through Corner Canyon overnight. We are happy to report that right now it is at 100% containment. Mike?
All right, just into the newsroom here. One lane of westbound I-80 through Summit County is just reopened following a crash that required hazmat cleanup. This is on I-80 in Summit County between mileposts 185 and 187. That's about 4 miles east of Emory. Hazmat teams are on site right now, but we do not know exactly what the hazardous material is.
Dozens of West Valley residents have been allowed back into their apartments right now after a several hours long standoff between police and an armed man. Police say the man eventually came out on his own, challenged officers, and they used a taser to take him into custody.
Developing world news tonight. One person is dead from a knife attack in central London. 6 others are injured. Local police do have one suspect in custody and say terrorism is one possible motive being explored at this hour. And authorities now say a serial killer in Arizona has struck 9 times. The latest attack happened July 11th when a gunman opened fire on a 21-year-old and a 4-year-old sitting in a car. Neither were hit. Previous attacks, going back to March, have left 7 people dead and 2 others injured. The search for the culprit is ongoing. Mike?
Salt Lake police still investigating how a person died after being hit by a tracks train earlier tonight. UTA says that the train collided with a pedestrian just around 5 o'clock. The area between State Street and 200 East was shut down for a couple of hours, but has since reopened. If you're still planning to ride the train tonight, UTA says tracks may still have some delays on the red line. Deanie?
New tonight, 3 men are under arrest after Weber County Sheriff's investigators say a home burglary didn't go as they'd planned. News specialist Andrew Adams joins us live. Andrew, sounds like they picked the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, Deanie, wasn't for a lack of trying. These guys went as far away from the city as possible to avoid getting caught. Out here of the open fields of Plain City, out in remote Weber County. But what they underestimated are the ties that bind this small community together. The serenity and the fury. Such is life raising cattle on a farm.
The big mamas weren't too bad, but then the calves, I got kicked a couple times, and my brother-in-law got kicked. That's a lot of work, but we got it done.
Little did Matt Hunt know his skill herding cattle would come in handy next door.
I ran in the back, and that's where everyone was at.
Neighbors had seen some people go behind the house that belongs to Hunt's sister.
Did bust everything in.
She wasn't home.
And I seen this kid sitting in the car, and I go up to him and ask him what he was doing.
And then Hunt noticed the back door. It was wide open.
I just ran straight into the home, not knowing what was going on, and there was 2 kids in the home in the back room with a bunch of bags, hats, guns, jewelry.
That's when Hunt's herding instincts kicked into gear.
And they went for the front door, and that's when I jumped over the couch and I tackled both of them and had them both in a headlock.
Hunt says one of the men escaped his grasp, but not his mom.
She yelled at the kid and stuck her leg out, and the kid fell straight on his face.
Weber County Sheriff's deputies eventually rounded up that man and cuffed the other 2. Michelle Orrick says she was scared for her brother, but grateful.
My brother's a stud. Everyone around here knows that you don't mess with country boys. They all are tough.
For Hunt, herding rowdy characters into the pokey,
they're a lot easier. They didn't put up too much of a fight.
Is all in a day's job.
Just doing what I could, being her brother, so.
Sheriff's deputies don't necessarily recommend confronting suspected home burglars. They say don't do it, but worked out in this case. And as for those men, investigators are looking to see if they may be tied to any other crimes.
Yeah, Andrew, quote of the night, you don't mess with country boys. Lesson learned. All
Exactly.
right. Thanks, Andrew.
All right.
Man, that's crazy. Libertarian presidential candidate Gary Johnson needs to get around 15% in the national polls to have a shot at joining Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton in those national debates. Johnson and his running mate Bill Weld tried to jumpstart that effort tonight in a CNN town hall meeting, both going after Clinton and Trump.
The noun that comes to my mind is a screw loose. If either Trump or Clinton are elected, that things will be more polarized than ever.
Johnson will stage a campaign rally on Saturday at the University of Utah. Mike?
All right, some good news for Rio. It's not just raw sewage and garbage in these Olympic waters anymore, right? If athletes are lucky, they're also going to get to compete with these guys. Coming up next, we're going to check in with Team KSL in Rio de Janeiro and find out if they believe the city is ready for the Summer Games. Plus,
Zika, West Nile virus. The threats are real.
Mosquitoes can sense you from 100 yards away.
But you can fight back.
You have to have a plan.
Mosquito invasion. Bug-proof your family. Coming up next.
Closed captioning sponsored by Mike's Custom Jewelry.
Bring your ideas and we'll help you design jewelry to treasure.
Mike, what are you doing?
It's Jared. Need to go back to before we caught him drinking. We should have been more involved.
What did you do?
I got involved. He likes playing video games. So we played video games and I told him we didn't want him drinking underage. And it worked!
When parents stay involved, kids stay alcohol-free. No time travel needed.
Did you know you can experience Lexus luxury during the Golden Opportunity sales event for as little as $329 a month? Larry H. Miller Lexus, driven by you.
This Lexus, driven by me.
Injured? We'll come to you. Visit us at robertdebry.com.
The Salt Lake Parade of Homes, what dream homes are made of. Come see Utah's most creative homes, bursting with new possibilities. Presented by the Salt Lake Home Builders Association. Ideas you'll want to come home to. Amazing landscapes, thoughtful retreats, and intimate designs. See over 30 homes for the price of one ticket from saltlakeparade.com. Get inspired at the Salt Lake Parade of Homes, sponsored by America First Credit Union.
When you spend 100% of your time helping others, 100 years seems to go by in a flash.
Brent Christensen Insurance is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
So my old dining table was, it was a card table. My fiance's parents were coming over for dinner and I needed to make a good impression. So I went to the place that had all the dining room sets my brain could imagine. I went to R.C. Willey.
R.C. Willey's experts can help you make a good impression with a new dining set like this dark oak 5-piece set that complements a variety of styles. Now just $11.99.
My fiance's parents loved the dining room table, and I think I'm growing on them.
Utah Data Recovery, trusted by high-profile clients for data and RAID recovery and forensics, is available for purchase. Call 435-799-4888.
If you love trains, the 19th Annual Roundhouse Festival in Evanston, Wyoming is a remarkable event. It's held in the historic Union Pacific Roundhouse, August 5th, 6th, and 7th. Model train fanatics, history buffs, and collectors of railroad artifacts love the Roundhouse Festival. Bring the family and enjoy the model train show, train vendors, food, raffles, and more. Stay in one of over 1,000 affordable hotel rooms and walk back in time as you discover the cultural and economical history lesson the rail yards share. It's a whole lot of fun. Go to visitevanston.com.
KSL Weather, sponsored by Evanston, Wyoming. Find your adventure.
The Olympic torch arrived in Rio de Janeiro today, and we're now just 2 days away from opening ceremonies.
Of course, there's concerns over Zika, security, even infrastructure, but all that seems to get trumped by the spirit of the games, which a lot of people love, Mike.
Yeah, they certainly do. We have our KSL team in place in Rio. We got Andrew Wittenberg, Ashley Kush, and Alex Cabrero. They are covering all those stories for us, and they join us tonight with a look at what they have seen so far.
Good evening from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We're here at Olympic Park, and now, guys, less than 48 hours to go until the opening ceremonies on Friday. And despite everything we've been hearing, all of the concerns about these games, things are seemingly going well.
Yeah, mosquitoes were one of the biggest concerns we were hearing about going into these games, but so far we've barely seen any at all.
And as far as security, we're seeing police officers and military everywhere on the streets and even surrounding venues just to make sure we are all safe.
Rio's military said earlier this week security is being increased because of concerns surrounding Olympic venues. Any off time officers were previously approved for has been canceled until after the games are over. Plus, Brazil is working with other countries, including the U.S., to monitor any terrorism concerns.
Even with those concerns, though, tourists are starting to come to Rio, visiting popular spots just before opening ceremonies. Some athletes have decided to skip these games because of concerns regarding Zika, safety, and water quality. But people visiting beaches say they're not overly worried.
Well, of course, we thought about it before we left, and yeah, we have friends who are also doctors, but if you think about it rationally and look at the numbers, one can get all sorts of illnesses when you're traveling, but it was on our mind, but we're not especially concerned about it now. We considered it for sure, but it didn't stop us from coming to Brazil.
And those who come to Rio can now enjoy a brand new way to get around. A new metro line opened just 2 days ago, connecting the city's tourism district to areas where many of the Olympic events are taking place. Rio's mayor says this new line is one of the most important legacies of the Games, kind of like our track system in Salt Lake built for the 2002 Games.
One observation we can make now a couple days into this trip, traffic is horrific, worse than anything you'd see on I-15 in Utah.
But, you know, we have been able to get around. We're just realizing you have to give yourself way more time than you would ever expect, an hour, hour and a half, even to make the shortest distances.
That's right. And opening ceremonies begin right here on KSL TV Friday night, but we begin our team coverage tomorrow morning.
I'll be back right here in just a few hours from now. Join us for complete coverage of the Rio de Janeiro Olympics on KSL Today, beginning tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. For Alex and Ashley, I'm Andrew Wittenberg. Now back to you in Salt Lake from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Andrew, thank you. The 2-year countdown from Sochi is just about over. Be with us Friday night at 6:30 for opening ceremonies of the Rio Summer Games right here on KSL.
And getting ready for the games has been filled with challenges, as we've been reporting over the last several months. A number of athletes have pulled out, citing concerns about the Zika virus. But should we worry about it here in Utah?
Yeah, it's certainly top of mind. News specialist Keith McCord got some answers from the experts.
It's the first Olympic Games to be held on the South American continent.
To be honest, I've never seen an Olympics that has such a wide array of potential problems.
Budget shortfalls, pollution, venue construction issues, terrorist threats, and the big talker for months, Zika. Concerns about the mosquito-borne disease has caused some athletes, media members, and tourists to stay home. Before she left for Rio, Hope Solo, goalie for the U.S. women's soccer team, posted these photos on her Twitter page. A bit of levity, but definite concern. Mosquito spraying, however, has taken place at the Olympic venues and in surrounding areas. Here in Utah, Zika-carrying mosquitoes haven't been detected at this point, but there are other species that can cause health problems, such as West Nile. So how can we protect ourselves while we spend the summer months outdoors?
Mosquitoes can sense you from 100 yards away. They sense your exhale. They sense your movement.
We met with Brian Brody, an outdoor and survival expert, to talk about ways to avoid some of the things that bug us while we're outside.
What good is the great outdoors if you can't enjoy it?
Right. While he says there are a variety of sprays and lotions available, they can be messy. He showed us some outdoor gear that's already infused with insect repellent. No mess, and you can't
lick it off, can't smell it, can't taste it, can't feel it. And it's designed for mosquitoes, ticks, chiggers, flies, ants, no-see-ums. The permethrin is worked right into the clothing.
And it can be washed dozens of times. While much of the pre-treated clothing is designed for outdoor recreation, such as the shirts we're both wearing here, anything in your closet can be treated now.
You can take your own clothing, send it to Insect Shield. They'll treat it for you, send it back to you. So now you can still have the fashion that you want, but you can still be fighting bugs at the same time.
Hats, blankets, even vests for your dog.
One of the things I like about the blanket is if you're hanging out watching the fireworks, hanging out in the backyard watching the sunset, you drape the blanket down and you have the Insect Shield protection. Yeah. You're not worried about all the critters flying around in the air or some of them crawling around on the ground.
Again, to reduce the bug bites, try to avoid areas where they hang out. Wear pre-treated clothing or spray clothing with permethrin. At least make sure your arms and legs are covered. And don't forget about your pets. Many companies make treated vests and bandanas to protect dogs. Bottom line, we can't avoid mosquitoes entirely, but a few simple steps can help.
Mosquitoes and ticks, they don't realize, is it your backyard or is it the back country? Right? They're just predators. So wherever you go, people go, oh, I'm only going to hang out in the backyard for a barbecue. There's still mosquitoes there.
So whether you're in Rio, on a trail in the high Uintas, or in your backyard, it's all about planning ahead.
Then you don't have to panic and you can actually enjoy the time in the outdoors with your family.
Because no one wants to put up with things like this.
That's creepy, right? That's down by Utah Lake. Okay, before we sent Ashley and Andrew and Alex down to Rio, we had their stuff treated, the permethrin. You can buy it, spray it on your stuff, spray it on your suit, whatever. It all works. And so it'll protect you. You can buy this at sporting goods stores, stuff like that. But I do have some of the insect shield stuff that's already been treated.
Oh, bandanas.
Bandanas, wrap it around your head. Dave. Yeah, I've been looking for some of those. Right, for the dog. Deanie, for the kids.
Oh, thanks.
You can wash it 70 times. It won't wash out. Good stuff. But just be prepared. If you're outside, put something on. You know, some sort of thing. Wear long sleeves, that kind of stuff.
And that stuff's used to treat your clothing, but if it gets on your body, is it any big deal?
Be careful.
Okay.
You said it smells like gasoline.
It smells like gasoline.
Okay.
But spray it on, let it dry, and that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yep.
Great stuff, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Let's bring Kevin back in. After such a dry July, Kevin, it looks like August has come in with a knockout punch.
I'll tell you, the skies opened up across southern Utah today. This is in Kanab. Stephanie sending in this video, Stephanie Clarkson. Flooding in the streets, it went into homes, it went into basements, it went everywhere, and it wasn't just Kanab and Kane County. We had flooding in and around Zion National Park and Capitol Reef. It's been a crazy day. On the southern side of the state, flooding. On the northern side, it's fire. Joanne Tello sending this picture in from Plymouth. Yeah, the harvester was out in the field trying to get some stuff cut, but all that fire just sending a plume of smoke. Reports all over northern Utah, southern Idaho seeing this plume and filling the skies. From one end of our state to the next, you've got crazy weather and crazy impacts because of the wild weather. Take a look at these rain totals. Kanab, 1.49 inches of rain. Zion National Park, northern tip, 1.34. Veo, over an inch. Kodachrome, 1.02. Enterprise, almost an inch. Moab, 3/4 of an inch. Sunnyside, even up into central Utah, 0.68. It's been a crazy day of heavy, heavy rain, and it continues at this late hour. It's 81 in Salt Lake City, 71 in Boise. A little cool front nudged down into Utah. Now, we were 78 last night for a low, which is a record warm morning low for this date. It's got to hold till 1 a.m. But the warm temperatures, well, they came into parts of northern Utah. We dropped out of the 100s, but the rain stayed in southern parts of the state. Moab continuing to see the moderate rain. They had some real heavy cells earlier. That's where part of that 3/4 of an inch came from, but they're still getting rain now. Down over parts of Enterprise, heavy rain earlier, and we still have moderate rain in the southwest corner. Zooming down to St. George, we'll go in close for you. You can see St. George up to Ivins, moderate rainfall. Stretching over towards Washington, we've got rain over towards Hurricane. But the real strong stuff has slid south along the I-15 corridor. Look at that. Mesquite to Moapa Valley, all along I-15. You got to love it when the desert gets its rain, but I'll tell you, that canyon can be treacherous when you got rain and rocks and other things coming down. So some interesting weather tonight. Here's the plan. The little front that's across northern Utah kind of stalls out and holds. Tomorrow, southern Utah, Kanab, St. George, again over to Moab. Chance of more thunderstorms. Then this front kind of waffles back, and we start to see moisture being drawn in for Friday and Saturday, and that will bring an opportunity for some scattered thunderstorms for the northern part of the state to start the weekend. Temperatures, though, will stay in the low 90s to mid-90s here in northern Utah. Tomorrow, 89 West Valley, 94 Springdale. South of I-70, very active. Scattered thunderstorms again. The potential for flash flooding in the slot canyons and in the low spots is most definitely there, so be careful if you're camping or headed out or have any outdoor plans. Check the flash flood potential before you go into any kind of canyon or any sort of ravine. 88 Kanab, 98 St. George. Tomorrow we keep the storms around through Friday, then we warm it back up and dry it out for Saturday, Sunday, and beyond. Sunshine and low 100s to take us through the weekend and the first of next week. Northern Utah tonight, beautiful and pleasant, except for the smoke that's in the air. 68 in Salt Lake City, 65 in West Jordan. Temperatures tomorrow, we end up in the low 90s again in the next 7 days. Introducing thunderstorm potential in the afternoons on Friday and Saturday. Not washouts, just little isolated storms as we see a little surge in moisture. And then temperatures in the mid to low 90s all through the first of next week with plenty of sunshine. Grant Wayman is off, but Dan Guthrie will be here tomorrow morning, so he'll talk more about the fires and the flood potential. And you can always track it with your KSL weather app, but lots of storms going on even tonight at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's busy. All right, thanks, Kevin.
You bet.
We'll be right back.
New Utah schools already operating thousands of students beyond capacity. Friday, KSL 5 examines the challenges our state's school squeeze is handing tens of thousands of families. Friday, after the opening ceremonies on KSL 5 News.
Don't